Hello there, my name is Julia McNeil. I'm sat in my craft room and I'm here to confess that I am a paper scrap hoarder. Look at that! I'm sat in amongst my bag full of scraps. So today it's time to tackle those scraps, so let's get started. Okay, so this is me put a load of papers to the side, and what I'm going to do now is just to start separating them a little bit. So in the minute I'm thinking of putting a junk journal together, so I can't see this page being used much in a junk journal, so I'm just going to set that aside because that'll be perfect for some other sort of project. So yeah, I'm just sort of going to go through and organise these scraps a little bit, and at the minute I'm thinking junk journals, so I'm not bothered if they're not huge because I think we can do all sorts of things with it, but I'm just sort of trying to put things together that I think would work in a journal. Now the reason that I am doing that is because I've noticed recently that more often than not when I sit down to do some art journaling, I always seem to be reaching for my junk journal for some reason. And I've got loads of little bitties here, so I'm not going to throw them away. Still going to use them, but just not at this stage. They still may go into a junk journal, but it may be in a different way. So all I'm going to do is sort of gradually square off various elements, and then I think we'll maybe do a series of different bits and bobs. I'm struggling to get that in because there's quite a lot of glue, but actually I'm thinking a little hole at the end would make quite an interesting feature, but it's quite thick because it's got a few lines of paper, so that's why I was struggling there. So as I said, some of these thinner pieces might become belly bands, but I actually quite like different sizes of pages, so I probably will end up bringing some of my newer papers in as well. It's weird, I'm trying to talk and I'm stood up because I'm cutting paper and I can't really do that sat down, and the fact that I'm in a different crafting position, it seems to mean that my mouth won't work, which is very strange. So yeah, I'm putting things aside because at the minute I'm just thinking of actually building the journal, so I'm just choosing elements and squaring them off. I know that our Dawn, what she did with all of her scraps, now this has got a big paint splat on it, actually I might keep the torn edge. So some of them, yeah, I might actually just keep the torn edge because it looks quite good and put it to the side, but I'm just sort of neatening it off. This one is tea stained, so if you're wondering why that is, feel free to check out my Facebook page and see the Facebook Live that I attempted to do where my husband decided to do building around me. Highly entertaining. So yep, I'm just cutting off all the extra bits and pieces. As I said, we're still not binning anything yet. So I once actually pretty much got to the bottom of my scraps years and years ago because I went on a real mission to, look at this, I like that. That obviously didn't make the grade at the time, but I like it now. Yeah, and I'd actually got so that I was pretty good. I pretty much used up loads and loads of stuff, and I had this tiny little scrap bag left, and I was determined to keep it that way, and like all best intentions with crafting, it sort of went awry, went amiss. I'm going to actually put those in my bit box rather than my scrap box. Right, some of these smaller bits we'll use for something else. Yeah, so I'd kind of got to the stage where I was like really quite on top of it, and then what I would do is, which maybe once we've tackled all of these scraps, is what I would tend to do is after I'd finished a project, I'd then sit with all the scraps and make something with the scraps so that they didn't build up, and actually that was quite good practice. But just with one thing and another, crafting circumstances changed. I was on some DTs, and that meant that I was, having to meet deadlines and things, which meant I didn't sort of maybe craft in the same way that I have, and now it's just the scraps have got on top of me. But I felt so good the other day. I did this video, that's a bit of vellum, and I've already got a bit of distress inks on that. There's a bit of a damaged bit there, but actually we'll just leave that in the journal. That's bit of bit of something. But I think this would be really interesting in a journal because we've got a funny edge that obviously hasn't worked, and we've got a bit of watercolouring and spraying. That was going to look really fun in a journal. So yeah, as I said, I'm just trying to go through it and choose what I think would be good. And I can't even remember what I was saying. And I don't want that one. Yeah, so I'd got on top of it, I felt good, but the other day I challenged myself to completely empty my bit box, and I did, and it felt so good. I was so chuffed with myself. I think you can actually hear it in my voice in the video. It's like I'm giggling away just purely because I had actually completed it, and I think so many of us have moved on to our scraps. So it does make me laugh because I don't think any of us have copied each other, but like I'm looking on Facebook and on YouTube, and it seems that everybody started, you know, with lockdown with right, I'm going to gut my craft room. First thing I did, because we actually went into isolation prior to lockdown, and I spent 4 days tidying my craft room. And then the next thing was like, right, now we're going to use up all the stuff we've got. And the fact that we can't get to the shops and bits and pieces like that, it means we are having to look at our stash. And I was like, right, perfect opportunity to actually get to the bottom of my scrap pile. So that is what I have decided to do with you today. So I'm just going to keep going through this pile of papers like I have, and saving stuff to the side that I think will be usable in a journal. Okay, so welcome back to Organised Chaos. This is my pile of papers that I'm going to attempt to put in a journal, and here is the leftover scraps that are a bit too small or a bit too bitty for journals, and we're just going to put those aside for the moment. They might become sort of fold outs or tip-ins to the journals. We'll see, or we may just use them on a completely different project. So I am just going to pop those aside now. Okay, so these are the papers I'm going to be working with just now. It's funny when you think that is a massive pile of papers. I don't know if I can show you that. That's what I've just put back in the bag. It's like, yes, I have a long way to go. Long way. Right, the first thing, as I was going through these, I noticed I have a few papers like this, which are Tim Holtz papers, and I actually don't have any square junk journals. So I think I'm going to just go through these bits now and just see what we've got that could be covers. Let me see, could that make a... Well, actually that would make quite a nice cover for a journal. Okay, so I'm just going to... These might be smaller than the journals I've had before, but I'm just going through like that. Do I want a long thin journal? Possibly, but I quite like the texture of that card. Let's have a little look. So I've got a few of these, so I think these would make... Oh, that's another bigger one. So I'm just taking some of these bigger bits, and let's just get our journal covers sorted. Okay. What have we got? What have we got? Yeah, I'm going to come back to this one because I actually think that might make a good journal cover. Right, so let's just pop that to the side for just now. So we are looking at making 4 journals. So, and what's quite nice about homemade journals is they can be whatever you want them to be, whatever size you want them to be. So I've just gone with the papers that I have in my stash. Originally I was thinking, oh, I could pull in other papers to make it work, but it's like, why bother? I'll just use what I've got on the desk. I've got plenty here on the desk. So I've folded it briefly, and now I will just... That's so pretty. I think that's a die cuts with a view paper. So yeah, I've got 2 square journals, a bigger one and like a tall thin one. So that's going to be not bad out of my scraps. Okay, then I think the next thing I'll do is let's just go through the papers and sort of assign them to a journal a little bit, and we can see how we got on with those so that we've got some sort of matching elements. Now I quite like that with the pink, but actually I think size wise it's maybe going to go in there. So yeah, I'm just going to keep going on now and sort of kind of colour coordinating, but not overly, because it's like it doesn't need to be matchy. It just needs to yeah, sort of work together. I tell you, my throat is really dry. I'm going to have a cup of tea, I think. I'm still finishing off a lemon meringue pie. We last night had a restaurant dinner. I'm not sure about that one, so I'll put it to the side. Yeah, we decided that what we would do is we would have a restaurant dinner at home, seeing as like we're in lockdown, and so it was quite funny. My daughter, we've been working on it all week, so my daughter and I, she'd worked out the menu of what we were going to have, and then my husband cooked it, and he also dressed up as a waiter because she wanted him to be the waiter. It was so much fun, and he really played the part really, really well. It was such fun. It really was very good. So at first I was sort of thinking about what I was doing a little bit. Now I'm just sort of matching papers, so it was good. But my husband made a lemon meringue pie. So good. I love it. I love lemon meringue pie. So yeah, so I was still eating off that, so I've already had 2 slices of it today. But I've now got a Chanda date, so I think we're going to be on a Chanda June 9th. And depending on where lockdown is at the time, how much of the restrictions are lifted, what has been lifted, will depend on whether we will be in the studio or not. So I suddenly sort of realised, oh, I could be on live TV in 6 weeks, and I have been eating my way through lockdown and I'm not looking my best. Thankfully all the Zoom meetings and Skype meetings I have, people are only seeing the top of my shoulders, so I am needing to get a wiggle on and get myself straightened out and sorted out. Right, so I am just going to carry on sorting these, and I'll be back to you in a moo. Okay, so I think I'll put this journal together on camera, and I have just picked out a few pieces that sort of will fit in here and sort of go. So I think I've probably got more papers than I'm going to be able to reasonably fit in here. I'm trying not to just fold everything in half, because I think what sort of makes a journal interesting is when you've got these extra little bits like so. So we'll have pull-outs and tip-ins, and I'll probably maybe go back through some of the papers again at some point and add extra elements to it. So at the minute I'm just folding the bits of paper that I have got, seeing what works, yeah, and just sort of having fun with it. So we'll see how we go. I'm hearing that there's a great disturbance going on downstairs, so who knows what's happening. And I probably need to nip down at some point because I can feel myself getting... Now I must remember that I'm actually doing a tentfold journal. I don't have a tentfold journal. I'm actually quite excited about this prospect. Okay, so I just like to keep sort of going through. I might move that over. Would it be tentfold? I think yeah. Okay, let's just see. I think that would be quite cool if we could have it sort of tipping out. Let me see. Right, if I fold it here, this is really, really old paper. I think this paper is probably like from my early days. Could we have it? Yeah, so if I do, just trying to see if I can get the sentiment. Let's just fold it along the lines and then work out, whoops, what we could do with it a little bit. That's not overly even. I think we did that, and then maybe I got some scissors to hand. I've been taking my stuff between the loft and back again because it's nice. This last week I've had 2 different Zoom craft afternoons. One with a friend in Australia and one with some friends down the south. But because I can't really set myself up on Zoom up here in the craft space, I've been taking bits and pieces downstairs. So the things that are normally to hand aren't quite to hand because I brought them back up but not put them back where they belong. So I'm thinking if I stitch that in there, then on one side we're going to have that, and on the other side we're going to have this sort of fancy fold out. That could be interesting. Okay, trying to see if I've got bigger sheets of things, because we don't have many that are sort of full size sheets, although we could just do something like sticking that to that. Let's see. Got a little bit of gel pressing work here. So yeah, I'll maybe just fold that over a tiny little bit. I'll have that pop in this way, I think. Oh no, we've got a bit fuller sheet that side. Let's have a fuller sheet this side. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. I'm trying to see what other bits and pieces I have popped out. A good bit of, I don't know why there's gems on here. You can tell these things have been in my scrap box because they've sort of acquired other goodies along the way. So we've got some tea stained papers. Can't go wrong with some tea stained papers in your journal. It's always a good idea. Let's put that in the centre. Give it a nice full page, and I think we've got something to make a full page. I see, I've got this. So that'll make a nice, I might just have to trim it down slightly so it doesn't stick outside the actual journal, if you know what I mean. Oh, actually it's alright, it doesn't protrude too much. Oh, I've lost my words. Right, okay, I feel like we need a bigger something or other in the centre. So how's, actually this one could, if we fold it up, we could have, it'll be a bit of a strange side pocket because obviously we're doing 10 to fold, but yeah, this is the sort of thing that at the minute it doesn't matter. At the minute we're just folding and sticking it in the journal as best we can. When we come to craft with it, it's like, right, okay, I've got an interesting element. How am I going to make use of that in this page? And that's sometimes where the interest can lie. Got a chunky card that as well. Okay. I still feel like, let's have a look. So what I tend to do every so often is we'll have a little flip through and see how it's feeling. So I've got that, I'm liking the big page, I like that. Then we've got some little interest here, but now I feel like I've got lots of fiddly bits together, so I feel maybe about here I want a bigger page. So what do I have? See, that one is halved is going to be a smaller page. Unless we just sort of stick something in. I've got all these beautiful pages as well. But again, they're sort of half sizes. Unless we just, I think what I'll maybe do is, let's just, if I can find one page to go in here and we can stitch it, and then we can maybe use all the elements to add tip-ins and things. So I'm just going to find one more page, because between all that scraps I'll definitely have something. Okay, so I have actually pulled out, I've got this paper card blank thing, and I thought it would be something that I would use to do quick and easy cards. I might actually try and use that up in a card making session one day in a future video, but it's something I have had in my stash probably at least 15 years. And it's just sort of sat there and I've never used it, and actually it's the perfect size to fit into this journal, so I've taken a few pages from that. So I'll just show you how it flips through. It is quite fat, so I wouldn't normally do a junk journal as chunky as this, but I like the way it's looking just now, so I'm going to stick with it, and then we might just have to trim the ends afterwards. So I'll just flip through. So we've got the front cover, and then we've got a little flap that matches the front cover. I've got this nice page here, okay, and then my, that's a jelly press thing. So I've tried to do it so that I do have bits of flaps and interest, but I also have like full sheets between them all. There's my paper bag, I've got a bit of tea stained paper, my little sentiment there, which then becomes a fold out here, which I think is quite fun. Okay, so that is how it is sitting now, and now it's time to stitch that together. So I am just going to get my stitching tools out there. Then I think, like with little pieces like this, what we'll do is we'll add some, as I said, tip-outs, tip-ins and pull-out things, whatever they're called. So I'll just get my gadgets together. Okay, so I am going to do my usual no measuring style of crafting, and I'm going to eyeball it. I am using my We Are Memory Keepers piercing mat, which does have this grid, so I'm sort of roughly going to the grid. And I'm doing it in a V because I found when I don't do it in a V, sometimes I end up with the hole not coming through on the spine. You can tell this is a bit thicker than normal because it's taken a bit of work to get through, but we have indeed got through and we're on the spine. So that is all good. I'm going to do another one just here. So I said this is approximately even. It's not necessarily fully even, but you know, I can live with that. And we'll pop that down there like so. So that is my 3 holes pierced, and now I am just going to, sorry if my head was in shot for that, but it very may well have been, and I also may well not be able to edit it out when I go to do it. I'm also running out of wax thread, so I will be having to see if I can find any online. So I'm taking my wax thread. I have to say, waxed thread does, I know you can do it with other things, but I do find wax thread makes this a whole lot easier. Okay, so there are loads and loads of tutorials on this. In all honesty, I would probably recommend that you go and watch somebody else's tutorial, because I feel that I don't particularly know what I'm doing. But having watched many people create junk journals, this is kind of the way forward for me. I may actually then get on to the step of doing more than one signature and putting it together, but at the moment I feel like I've accomplished quite a lot being able to do this. Because it took me long enough to be brave enough just to pierce 3 holes into a journal. So if I can do it, anybody can. So I am just going to, I've tied that in a knot, and I will tie it in a second knot and pull it really tight. And this is where I think the wax thread comes into its own, because if you do end up making it looser than you wanted to, you do just have a bit of manoeuvrability to be able to get that nice and smooth. Okay, so I'm going to chop that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is get a craft knife, and we will just trim the edges of this a little bit so it's not all poking out the back of it like that. So apologise for the reflection in this a little bit. I have got my We Are Memory Keepers ruler. It has a metal edge. I can't actually find my normal craft knife that I use, which is a bit, so this is an older one which isn't as sharp. Okay, so we'll see how we go. So I'm just going to very slowly, just gradually cut through these pages, and then hopefully it means that we should have a nice even bottom, because it's nice to have an even bottom. It's got a fat bottom, but at least it'll be an even bottom. I'm just cutting through these various pages. As I said, I've got a metal edge to my ruler, which does make a difference. It makes this job slightly easier. Okay, now hopefully I've done that right. Yeah, there we go. We've got a nice even edge to our journal. Fantastic. Right, I am now going to pull back some of those pieces that we have, grab some washi, and let's add a bit more interest to the journal. Okay, so I'm going to now just add a few extra elements. I mean, we've got all these scraps to hand, let's make the most of them. And then of course, as we're doing art journaling or working in our junk journals, these scraps can come out again and be used to decorate pages and things. So I had a little flip that I had folded over like that together. That's a fortuitous accident. I didn't even see what it looked like behind there, but actually the colours go really well. So I've just added that in now and made that a full page, and I've just stuck it down with glue. And then I may just get a piece of washi just to secure that a little bit more, and I'm just going to look for little places to add a little extra elements to the page. So let's see, like that. Okay, so I've stuck that one in, and I've got lots of little added little elements that could just be, you know, extra little bits and bobs, pockets and banners and different bits and pieces. So let's have a look, see what we've got. I'm quite chuffed with that page that we just put in. That might make quite a nice something or other. Well, I quite like my, not so keen on this side, so what is there something we can do with that, I wonder? I feel like I'm just faffing now. I feel like I'm just making you watch a load of faffing. Sorry about that, it's just beginning to lose the plot a little bit. So I found a little bit that's just going to cover this page that I'm not overly fussed on. So we'll do that, and again I'm just going to keep that quite solid and basic there. It covers that sheet I'm not so keen on and just adds a tiny bit of interest down that side there. Then I was thinking, because that's a plain bit there, that we could have some sort of fold out there. So let's just stick a bit of glue. So now I'm just taking the smaller scraps that maybe didn't quite make it as a page, and we're just adding tiny bits of interest. I'll fold that right back to right there. But all of those colours go quite nicely together. And as I said, it means that as we flip out, I'll maybe just secure that with a little bit of washi. I've got a nice one here that our Dawn gave us. I'll pop that down there just to secure it a little bit. And it'll also just become the start of a page when we start art journaling it. Okay, that's quite pretty. Okay, I'm wondering whether we could put a full, because we've created that there, but that's not overly pretty looking, so could we have a fuller page there? What do we have? We've got this one here. What have we got there? That might be quite nice. Okay, I'm just going to trim that down ever so slightly. Okay, so I've just put a bit of glue there, and I'm going to stitch that down there like so. I'm wondering if that'll make a little banner. I know we've got the Bow Bunny writing there, but that's something we can cover up while we're journaling, so we can just make a little belly band to go around that, and I might just trim it. See that? Look how interesting this is becoming now. Just adding these few little extra bits and pieces. I've just pulled apart the bit I just glued. Apart from that minor detail, let's get some more glue down on that. Clearly moved it sooner than I should have. That's okay. I'll get that down now. Oops. I think I was trying to pull apart a bit that wasn't intended to pull apart. There we go. Right, I'll come back to that and just trim that a little bit once we have got it, but like, I'm quite pleased with that. We've got that little bit there. Yeah, it's looking quite fun. Don't know whether to have, that's like a similar paper, but I've actually stamped on it. Don't know whether, no, because we've not got enough room to create a pocket. Never mind, excuse me faffing, sorry. This is quite nice. Yeah, if we do that there, that could be a pocket. Just trim that. Well, I can manage to trim it with my scissors, I think. Save me having to go to the guillotine. Let's pop that in there. But as I said, it's because I've noticed that quite often, especially for my take 5s recently, I always seem to be pulling out a junk journal that I've made, as opposed to one of my other journals. So I thought that seems, at this moment in time, for where my creativity is lying and sitting, it seems like one of the most logical directions to go in for me right at this moment in time. But we will see how that continues. I do like the way that folds out the other end. Okay, that's looking quite good. Oh, I like that together. Right, let's chop that down there, and we'll create a belly band with that. So there's some amazing junk journalers out there that do so much. They do so much pretty things with their junk journals. For me, a junk journal is a basis to art journal, and that is the direction that I will take it. So I'm not overly as worried about making everything incredibly pretty at this stage, because the chances are for me that it's going to get slapped over with gesso and paint and mediums and become completely different to what it is right at this moment in time. So this is me just getting my basics down to play with at a later date. And at the minute my mission is just, let's try and use up some scraps and see how we get on with that. I'm just trying to work out if I can create some sort of, that would maybe work as a belly band there. And actually this is scrap, but those cards that I ended up putting into it, it was from the same range, so actually it's going to tie in with those pages. There's going to be an element that sort of matches, which will be quite pretty. Right. Okay. Oops, but we're getting through our scraps slowly. But you know, this will be our mission for the next few weeks and couple of videos. Now we've got a lovely card there, and then a really plain section. So I feel it's a shame I've used that, because that would have made a perfect little pocket or tuck spot or something. But feeling like this page is needing something added to it. Oh, I like it that way. So let's make a pocket as opposed to a belly band. I quite like when I'm cutting straight at polka dots, because it almost gives you a guideline for it looking straight. Okay. I think we're getting there, and we've made a fairly interesting journal, which is obviously the main intention. Right. I feel like we're needing something on one of these pages. I'm just wondering if we do would that work? Something along those lines. What do I have? What's this? It's just plain card. Some more pages here. What have we got here? Is that just the? It's just the one. Okay, let's try folding this like so, and then if we tuck that around there, yeah, that sits quite nicely on that page. So I'm just going to put, let's get it so it sits right. Let's just put a bead of glue down that side there, and then a little bit of washi just to sort of decorate that page there. And again, I think the washi that Dawn sent me is going to work really well on that page. So I've got the glue. Between the glue and the washi, we should sort of secure these pages down quite easily. That down there, and it's like already, it means we're already adding interest. I think one of the reasons why art journaling in a junk journal is fun is because quite often the hardest part of starting a journal page is the fear of the blank page, and we've already taken that away. The fact that we've got colour down and a bit of interest, you've already got a starting point, so you automatically take that sort of as I said, the fear element, the fear of the blank page element away. We've already got a level of interest to it, which is fun. Should we add a pocket in here, I think. Right, I'm just going to chop that bit down. Scalloped paper in my stash, so I'm thinking that if I just, what I'll do is I'll just chop that there, and we can stick that to the reverse of this paper here before we stick down the pocket element. The other thing about adding little pockets and things is, like, maybe if we don't want to be making a art journal page, we can just make a little tag, and that can be enough to then we've got somewhere to pop it. I quite like making tags, but then it's like, what do you do with the tags afterwards? You know, so then they end up getting, I've probably gone up a bit higher than I should have with that glue, but that's fine. It just means that whatever we stick down there, then I'm wondering whether, ooh, I was going to put it down there, but I actually quite like it. I quite like it. There's a double scallop. And I'm just going to glue that down completely. I was going to have it down there and have like another tuck spot as well, but I do quite like the way it looks a bit further up the page. So let's just go with it. It looks pretty, it makes me happy, so we'll go with it. We will go with that. Right. Okay. And then I've got this little bit of paper left here. Why not? We can have two sort of pocket pages together. Cool. So let's stick that down, and then I might just sort of neaten up the edges of where I've put those pockets with a little bit of washi. Let's just flick through our book now and see if we are happy with how it is looking so far. Okay. Here's my little washies. What do I have? This one would be quite good. The trouble is, this is quite an old washi, and it seems to disintegrate quite a lot, but the colours go really well, so I'm going to try if I can find the end of it. Okay, we're at the stage where it looks like we're watching paint dry. Okay, so I was just having issues with the washi, so I've just finished that little bit myself. I'm kind of feeling that I want something there. But I'll look at that in a minute. Right, so the other thing I just thought I'd do is I would just glue this bit in as a pocket here at the back, because the stitching is tearing slightly there, which is just going to look a little bit unsightly, and that's fine. And we have stuffed an awful lot into this journal, but if we do that, we'll just hide the fact that that's torn a little bit, and also just create a pretty pocket at the back. I'm kind of wanting to put this sheet in, but I'm not quite sure how, unless we just do it with washi. What do we think? Should we try that? And get one of the washies that actually works. Okay. So if I just pop that in there like so. Oops. So I need to get that even. Okay, and then flip it around the back so that it sticks. Cool, and then I may just put an extra little bit of washi just to secure that a bit more. It's very pretty. That'd be quite nice. It's like it feels like I've stuck everything in the one journal, but then I look at all the scraps behind me and think, no, it's okay. You just go to town, Julia, why not? You know, if you can't go to town when using up your scraps, when can you go to town? Okay. So I've done that a bit lower than I possibly should have. Let's see if we can, I might just be able to raise it up slightly. Okay. Got a song in my head. It was so sweet. I woke up this morning because our school has a WhatsApp chat for like the mums and teachers in it. We had it well before lockdown, but it was just sort of keeping up to date with like school news. Sometimes if it's sport, you know, we live in Scotland, so sports day gets cancelled quite a lot, and bits and bobs like that. Just information going out nice and early. But in it, the teachers had put together this little video of just to say that they were missing the kids and that they were proud of them and stay safe, and it was done to do 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 do. I think that song's been in my head all day now, but it was just the sweetest thing. I have to say, it brought a wee tear to my eye. And obviously I showed it to my daughter, and it's like, oh, there's Mrs. So-and-so, and there's Miss So-and-so, and there's Mrs. So-and-so, and it was just so nice. It was so nice that they like put the effort in for the children. It makes such a difference. It's very strange times to be living through. I think as adults we find it very strange, but I don't think we fully appreciate just the impact it can be having on our children. Sometimes I feel like I'm spending all my time sort of wrestling with Google Classroom and everything, and not just fully appreciating, you know, what they're going through. Okay, so now we've got that does that, which I quite like. I'm going to just put another thing of washi on that, just to be completely secure. And then, as I said, I fancy just adding a little bit more music paper to that fabric style paper that we had going on at the beginning. No idea how long this video is going to be. Okay, but we will find out when we go downstairs to edit. And I've still got 3 more journals to make, but what I'm going to do with the 3 more journals is I am just going to pop myself some, I'm actually going to go downstairs and get a cup of tea first, pop some music on, and just finish the 3 journals up off camera, because you've pretty much seen what I'm going to do, and then I'll do a little flick through of what I have done. Right, I'm just thinking, as I said, I feel this might have been nice with a little bit of a belly band of some description. Oh, that's actually quite pretty. Okay, I think let's cut that down to size, and I think that could be what we need. Okay, I'll just do a quick flip through of this one, and then I'm going to get on and make the other one. So we have our front page. There we go. And then, as I said, I'm sure you will come to see this journal loads, because I can see me pulling it out quite a bit just to have a play with it. So that is how it is looking so far, and a great use of stash busting. So mostly my scraps, and then a few pages of bits and pieces of paper that need used up, because let's face it, they've been in my stash for more than 10 years. What I may do is just take some scissors and cut down that so we've got a proper pocket. Yeah, I've got belly band there, so just a few little bits and bobs, and as I said, I will gradually work on this and create some art journal pages at some point in time. Okay, I'll be back with the other 3. Okay, so of the papers that we had set aside to build a journal with, we still have a substantial amount left, but we have got through a fair amount, so we will have to come up with other ideas. I do have lots of ideas of things to do with paper scrap, so please do stay tuned, because I will turn this into a series. Let's get rid of all these scraps together. But I'll show you what I've done. You've seen this journal already. So we have this tall, oh, get it the right way around, we've got this tall thin one, and yeah, I've put some bigger scraps in here. That one I've sort of doubled over and created a little wallet style folder. I'm fairly new to the whole junk journaling thing, so with regards to all the, you know, jargon as to what what they call things, that's a background page that I'd started playing with my stamps on. So yeah, I think that's like is that fold out, and you've got fold outs and tip-ins, and yeah. Anyway, all I like to do is have things at different sizes, different levels, things that, what's happened here? Yeah, I think that was a fold out, but it's got stuck, yeah. I've glued it too well. Okay, yeah, so that's one of them, and I feel like I have really put a dent in that amount of stash, that is for sure. So we've got these ones. I think the next video, what we will do, I'm just making sure I've got this the right way around, what we will do is maybe decorate the covers of these. So again, these were some papers that I've had in my stash forever. They were part of like a magazine, you know, magazine papers that get filed away and then never get used. So yeah, and they're actually finally used. So we've got sort of a funny pocket there and a funny pocket there. I don't know how I'm going to use that page. I will discover that when I come to it, when I come to play with it. This is what I like. It's like this is now lots of bases for me to start art journaling with. And when that's a belly band there, when I'm in the right mood, I will come and grab one of these and we will journal together. So yeah, I've tried to make make my papers go as far as possible. The bigger ones have become the main sheets. Other papers that I liked but didn't quite fit in the journal, I've sort of added after, using the same techniques that we did in that first one that we made together. So this will have this vellum with a glitter on it. That's going to be interesting to use. I quite like the way this turned out. Sort of like a bit of a tiered thing going on there. That's page that's sort of been patched. This is one that's just been stuck in with washi. Again, load of scraps to build a sort of pocket there. So, and I've kept some pages that are quite plain, so and this one flaps open this way, same on that side, and then this is a little pocket there. Sorry, it's glued down properly, but we've got a pocket there. Okay, so that is the start of my scrap attack. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed it so far. So I think the next edition of this will be to decorate the covers of these 3 journals. So if you have enjoyed it here, please do consider liking and subscribing. Don't forget to hit that bell so you're notified when I upload, and then you can follow me as we attack those scraps. Okay, hope to see you again soon. Take care then, and goodbye.